All right, Garrett, thanks. A new school year just 3 days away for students and their families. John Ciesla, the Greenwood Superintendent, joins us live today to talk about how his district is preparing during a global pandemic. Superintendent, thanks for joining us.
You bet. Thank you for having me this afternoon.
So let's talk a little bit about the different learning options for families who are getting ready to send students back on Monday.
Yes, ma'am. We have two different options. Number one is the face-to-face option, which is your traditional 5 days of instruction. In addition, we're going to have an online platform, which right now about 15% of our student body, a little over 500 students, has elected to participate in, which is very interesting. Those numbers mirror essentially what a survey that we conducted last June actually told us. So our parents have actually, we have a few more coming back than what we initially even expected. So I'm pleased with that. I'm also proud of the hard work that our teachers put in this summer in order to be prepared for this online platform. You know, we learned a lot last spring with regard to some of the struggles that our parents had. And while we had technology-rich lessons, one thing that we did find out was the fact that a lot of our teachers are using different formats to deliver those lessons to our parents, which became very frustrating. So what we have done with our K-6 online is our teachers actually, the students will be assigned one teacher. That will provide a little bit more stability and consistency with regard to the parents being able to assist the students. And those lessons were designed by a team of teachers. So allowing to push that out in one format will be, I think, very beneficial to our parents. With regards to 7th through 12th grade, we have hundreds of offerings. So we, once again, will utilize a similar format to where parents will see the same thing every time they log on to that online platform. So we've tried to improve our consistency.
Two questions for you on online learning. One, is this something prior to March that Greenwood had ever kind of delved into before? And then you mentioned that the lesson plans were developed by a group of teachers. That was all done locally within Greenwood?
Yes, ma'am. We believe so strongly in what our teachers do. So we wanted our parents to understand that if you select the online model, that they will actually be learning from a Greenwood school teacher. So we feel like that's very important. And no, this is all new to us. We did not have an online platform in the past, but we did learn a lot, and we worked very hard this summer, and I just can't brag on our staff enough.
Sure. Let's talk quickly about the face mask policy for those students who are coming back in person and for staff as well in the buildings. What will that rule be?
Yes, ma'am. We do have a K-12 face mask policy for all students and also for all staff. We will provide 3 masks to all students. That way they can wash those at home in the evenings and have a clean mask each day. Of course, we will allow students to bring their own. One of the things that you keep seeing with research is that young students, in order to help ease them into this wearing of a mask on a routine basis, is for them to have something that maybe they design themselves or something that's something that they relate to, so to make it fun. So we're going to allow students to bring their own mask. But one thing we have decided to do is provide lanyards. That way students, a lot of masks will look similar if they use a school mask. That way they do not get confused. And one of the things when we devised our mask policy that we felt was very important is that we allow students to have mask breaks. So we really feel comfortable with what we're going to do.
Sure. Just quickly, also talk a little bit about the innovation and the creativity behind your teachers who are setting up for in-person learning. What kind of things have they developed in the classroom to keep students safe, but also do it in a way that kind of follows the rules and guidance surrounding COVID-19?
Yes, ma'am. Well, one of the first things we decided to do was to kind of ease students back into it. And what I mean by that is we're going to have students with a last name starting A through K attend school on Monday, and then also students that last names begin L through Z attend on Tuesday. So that will allow students to, the biggest thing that we talked about is teachers being able to build that relationship. This is going to be so new to everybody that we wanted that time where we can become a little bit more intimate and work with students on an individual basis and really dig in building those relationships. With regard to 9-12, we have what's called a structured learning time, which our students at the high school level can come in and get additional support with homework or tutoring, maybe in an area that they're struggling with. What we did is we transferred that to the beginning of the day, first period. So maybe students that do not need any extra assistance can show up on campus a little bit later, which
Sure.
will help students maybe congregating like they typically do in the mornings.
Right.
Another thing that we have done is students that are grades K through 6, we're actually going to have those teachers move rooms rather than the students. And then we've done a lot of the other typical things that other school districts are doing with regard to physical arrangement of classrooms, additional feeding areas as such. So.
Great. Well, we have more questions for you. We'll have those on the other side of this break. Back now with John Ciesla, the Greenwood Superintendent, talking about the impact of COVID-19 on the district's start to the school year on Monday. Superintendent, let's talk about some of the biggest concerns that you have heard from parents over the last few months, and how is the district addressing those concerns?
Okay, I'll tell you what, probably the biggest concern that I hear on a daily basis is what's going to force us to maybe go back to full-time online instruction.
Sure.
You know, the term that we've heard over and over again is being able to pivot, and I think a lot of our parents are concerned, about yo-yoing back and forth. So yesterday, I think the release of the ACHI data that we received, and a little bit more detailed data that had the overlays with the GIS, school district boundaries, to give us a clear picture of what's really going on within our school district with regard to positivity rate, is critical. So I think that answers a lot of questions and puts it out in a public format to where people have a little bit better understanding what's going on in our district. For example, even I didn't have the data until yesterday, but really our school district is probably has the lowest positivity rate in Sebastian County, even though Sebastian County has been a hot spot. So just that data, I think, will provide a lot of information to our parents and maybe ease some concerns about this going back and forth. They'll have a little bit better understanding of what sort of factors are going to drive us into possibly going back to online.
And for those who have not heard, is there a certain threshold or just a certain number at which that happens?
No, ma'am. There are a lot of other factors other than just a positivity rate. But once again, until yesterday, we didn't have really any data detailing exactly how many people in our school community actually had tested positive.
Talk a little bit about the development of the plans that you had for the upcoming school year. Did you collaborate with other districts in that? Did families and educators get to weigh in on that process? How did that work?
Well, I can't say enough about our community. Early in June, we actually pushed out a survey, and it was quite detailed and had around 1,100 responses. And when you consider that a lot of the students in our 3,700 student district a lot of parents will have multiple students, that is a very high percentage of return. So that the information that they provided us really allowed us to provide frequently asked questions. We were able to get out on the front end of some things. And of course, we involved community members and a variety of different members on our staff, just because obviously there's a lot of different departments, a lot of moving parts in the school district, and just say enough about our community and also our staff members.
We only have about 30 seconds, but can you quickly tell me about the sanitation protocols and if there's anything in addition to normal protocols the district will be doing?
Just the typical. We're going to mist all of our buildings. One thing that we have utilized is we are installing touchless water fountains, and I think that's something that will definitely eliminate congregation, after recess and such.
Sure.
So.
Well, we appreciate your time this afternoon, and good luck on Monday.
You bet. Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you. We'll be back with Garrett after this.